Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we're checking out my collection of Jurassic World, Giganotosauruses, Allosauruses, and Ceratosaurus figures. Let's start it out with this Giganotosaurus Strike and Roar figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This is one of the coolest Giganotosaurus figures that I have, with the most features on it. The first and biggest feature of this figure is the button right on its back that swings its torso back and forth. And it has like a chomping and tearing action that comes with it. Then at the bottom of the tail, there is another button that operates just the jaw for chomping and roaring. So you can actually do both of the buttons at once, and it looks pretty cool. And here's something you actually don't see too often. The tail is actually double jointed, so you can get a bit more bend in it. It looks a bit more realistic than having just one joint in it, which is pretty cool. And of course, you've got the big old DNA scanner right at the end of its tail too. Next, let's check out this ginormous Giganotosaurus figure. This is from the Super Colossal collection, and it is also from Jurassic World Dominion. You can see it's got the same coloring as all of the Giganotosaurus figures. The dark green with the black striping and patterning. It's got the huge spikes along its spine. And this Super Colossal figure has a decent amount of detailing all over its body too. You can see that the texture of its belly is different from the texture of its side, and its face as well. It's got these huge ridges right above its eyes too. It's pretty cool. And here is another Giganotosaurus figure. This one is the smallest. This is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. Still got the same iconic coloring. It only has one joint in its tail, different from the first one that we saw, and its arms and legs are fully adjustable just like the other ones. But most importantly, here is the button for the sound effects that are the special feature of this figure. This is a pretty small figure, and it's okay with the detail. You'll see that there is no coloring. Inside the mouth, they didn't color the teeth or the tongue at all, so that's a bit of a bummer. But other than that, this is a pretty cool medium-sized figure to have. All right, moving on to the Allosaurus figures, and I've actually got a brand new Camp Cretaceous figure to unbox. Let's check it out. This is the Roar Attack Allosaurus from Camp Cretaceous. It's got the dark green body, kind of similar in color to a Giganotosaurus, but then it also has the white and red detailing along its neck all the way up to its head. And it's also got some dark red eyes as well. That's a nice touch. It makes it look a bit more scary. This figure is not as detailed in the texturing of the skin as the Giganotosaurus figures, but it's still got some cool spines along its back. You can see its ribs on the side, and its arms, legs, and tail are adjustable. You can move them all around. And the biggest feature is the slide lever action on its back to get a series of different sound effects. This is pretty cool. I like these slide lever actions because for each button that you move it up, you get a different type of sound effect with it. Next up, we've got the Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous Roar Attack Allosaurus. This figure is dark brown along most of its body. It's got the dark blue detailing along its top. It's got some yellow eyes with a black pupil, which is different from the last one we saw. So this one looks a little bit less scary, I would say. And it has many of the same features as the Allosaurus that we just saw. You can move the arms and legs and tail, and it has the slide lever action for different sound effects. Plus, check out that blue tongue in its mouth. That is a pretty unique feature. I don't have that many dinosaurs that have a different colored tongue in its mouth. That's pretty cool. This Allosaurus is the Jurassic World Roarivores Allosaurus. These ones can be pretty hard to find now, I think. It's got the same detailing and texturing along its skin. You can see the ribs. This one does not have any spines on its back, which is pretty cool. It's got some yellow detailing all the way from its head, all the way down to its tail, as well as a bit on its legs. You can adjust the arms and legs of this figure, but you can't move the tail around or the head. And there is one button on its back for the chomping and roaring. And check it out. This Allosaurus also has a dark blue tongue. How cool is that? Next up is the Jurassic World Dual Attack Allosaurus figure. This figure is also tan and blue, but a bit lighter tan, and it has two tones of blue on it, the darker blue in the back and the lighter blue along the neck and the head. And this one also has yellow eyes with a black pupil, which is pretty cool. And on this figure, you can adjust the arms, the legs, and you can twist the tail a little bit. And the special feature of this figure is, like the name says, the dual attack buttons. The first button on the top activates the jaw. Check it out, this Allosaurus has a blue tongue as well. I guess a lot of the Allosauruses have it, and I didn't realize it. And the second button on its back activates its arms for slashing. This is a Jurassic Park Allosaurus figure. This is one of the oldest figures that I have. And you can see that it's designed quite a bit differently from the new Jurassic World Allosaurus figures. It's got some green eyes, you can manually open and close the jaw, and the biggest feature of this dinosaur figure is that it has battle damage that you can completely take off to reveal the insides of the dinosaur. Look at that, you can even take out some of its ribs. And you can also remove a part of its leg to reveal the bone and muscle underneath, and a bit on the tail as well to reveal the bone and muscle underneath there too. In the back here is the extreme battle damage Allosaurus figure from Jurassic World. This is a pretty new figure, and it is one of my largest Allosaurus figures. It's got the classic tan and dark blue coloring, the tan along most of its body and its underbelly, and the blue right along the top. And this figure has a bit more detailing and texturing than a lot of the smaller Allosaurus figures. It's got a ton more spikes along its spine as well that go all the way to its tail. That's pretty cool. You can see that it's got the DNA barcode scanner right at the top of its neck. And the coolest part is the battle damage that you can open and close. So you can hide it completely, or you can click it open to reveal the ribs, and you can even move the ribs out of the way to touch the stomach underneath. That's pretty cool. It's like a squishy soft rubber, and then you can close it all the way back up. This Allosaurus figure is huge, and it even comes with another action button right at the bottom of its back to activate its jaw. And the last Allosaurus figure is actually a duplicate of the one that I opened up earlier. This is the Roar Attack Allosaurus from Camp Cretaceous, with the green body and the red and white detailing and the slide lever action for roaring and chomping. And last of all are our Ceratosaurus figures. And I've even got the brand new Hammond Collection Ceratosaurus figure to open up. Let's check out this new figure from Jurassic World. Like many of the Hammond Collection figures, this dinosaur is very adjustable on all of its limbs. You can move its knees, you can move its elbows, its arms, you can twist its neck around. So this thing is fully posable, which is really cool. Overall, the coloring is pretty decent. It's pretty similar to the other Ceratosaurus figures that we'll see in a second. It's got the red on the top with the tan and the brown striping. And it's got a decent amount of detailing and texturing as well. It's got some yellow eyes and that iconic horn at the top of its head, and you can manually open and close its mouth. This next Ceratosaurus, I believe, is the Camp Cretaceous Roar Attack figure. It's got a gray body with some brown detailing, and of course the iconic red along its back all the way up to its head. On this figure, you can move its arms a little bit, and you can move its legs, and twist the tail, and there's one button on its back to activate the jaw for chomping and roaring. Next up, this Ceratosaurus, I believe, is from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. It's got some pretty similar coloring compared to the Hammond Collection Ceratosaurus that I just opened up. It's got the tan body with some black striping and red detailing all the way from its tail up to its head. And like the other figure, you can move its arms a little bit, you can move its legs, and you can twist the tail, and it has that one action button on its back to activate the jaw for chomping and roaring. The next Ceratosaurus figure, I believe, is from Camp Cretaceous. It's got the gray coloring along its underbelly and sides. It's got some dark gray detailing all the way up to its head, and of course the bright red from the back all the way to the face. This figure is actually pretty similar to this one that we saw earlier. This one is also Camp Cretaceous. It's got the same design and coloring with the red and the gray, but you'll notice that the brown detailing here is actually a dark gray detailing on this one. Plus, they have different actions. This one has one single action button on its back, and this one has a slide lever action for a bunch of different roar sound effects. This next Ceratosaurus figure is also from Camp Cretaceous. This is another roar attack figure. This has the slide lever action button on its back for the different roar sound effects. And you'll see that it's got entirely different coloring than many of the other Ceratosaurus figures that I have. It's dark green with only some black detailing along its back and its neck. And just like the other figures, you can slightly move its arms, you can move its legs, and on this one you can actually swivel the tail around in all directions. And last of all, this is the Jurassic World Roarivores Ceratosaurus figure. It's got some pretty unique coloring with the dark brown along its body and some bright orange detailing along its back and neck, and even a little bit on its legs as well. And you'll notice that its horn is also that bright orange color too. And this figure has the single button on its back to activate the chomping and the roaring. And you can move the legs and arms just a little bit, as well as twist the tail. Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out my huge collection of T-Rex figures from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, and more. And in fact, to start it off, I finally just got the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. So let's open this up first. I'm super excited. All right, here is the Hammond Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's check out the features of this dinosaur. So right off the bat, I noticed that it is a lot more adjustable than a lot of the other T-Rex figures. Like many of the other Hammond Collection figures, you see that it has many points of articulation. You can adjust the legs, the knees, the ankles, even at the arms, you can bend at the elbow too. You can also twist the torso and the neck, so you can move its whole body back and forth like that. And the tail actually has 2 points of articulation. And let's see the face. So it's got some pretty cool coloring. When you open its mouth up, you see that it actually has these rubbery flaps on the outside, so it feels a lot more lifelike. As well as the tongue is a soft rubber. And the eyes are actually like a marble substance, so it's clear, and then you can see the pupil inside. So the eyeballs aren't just painted on, those are actual like plastic eyes. And detail-wise with the coloring, obviously you can see it is a lot more detailed than the usual T-Rex figures from Jurassic World. The body has a more reflective, a very plasticky looking color to it, whereas the face has a much more matte finish, which I really like. Next up, we've got some huge super colossal T-Rex figures. This is an orange T-Rex with a brown top. All these super colossal T-Rexes are the exact same size, and they all come with the stomach compartment, so you can actually feed them miniature dinosaurs down the throat, and you can empty it out in the stomach compartment at the bottom. The next super colossal figure, I believe, was custom painted a long time ago. This T-Rex is a dark green color with the black detailing on the top. You can see it's even got some battle damage on its neck too, which I think is really cool. None of my other super colossal figures have battle damage like that. And it's got the white underbelly. It actually comes with some sound effects too, that when you open the mouth all the way, it's pretty quiet. But it actually roars too, which is different. I don't think any of my other super colossal figures have roar sound effects built into them. So that's pretty cool. The next super colossal figure is a bright red. This is probably one of the most evil looking super colossal figures that I have. Just look at those white eyes. There's actually no pupils painted in, so I think it makes it look a lot more evil. But check out this custom coloring. It's a super bright red body. Kind of looks like fire in a way. It's got the yellow striping right along the black. This is probably my most unique looking super colossal figure. This one is really cool. And the last super colossal figure that I have is the Jurassic Park Dominion figure. This one came out pretty recently actually. It's got the dark brown body with the black on the top and the light underbelly. And all in all, it's about the same as the other super colossal figures in terms of movement and articulation. But this is a super cool, darker looking T-Rex, and I'm super excited to see what super colossal figures they come out with next. Next up, we've got a orange T-Rex with battle damage all over its body. Look at those slashes on its tail, its leg, its torso, and some on its nose too. And this T-Rex is very adjustable actually. You can move the neck, you can move the legs and the tail, and it is quite poseable. Plus, it's got an action button on the top of its head for the roaring. This is an old Jurassic Park figure. This T-Rex has a light underbelly and a camouflaged green top. That's pretty cool. Like many of the Jurassic Park figures, its body is mostly rubber. It's got hard plastic legs. And with this figure, you can use the tail to swing the head back and forth. Next up, we've got a Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This has the classic light brown body with the lighter underbelly and dark brown top, and this T-Rex has a chomping action using the button on its tail. That's a pretty cool motorized function that goes with the sound effects. This one is another old Jurassic Park figure. This is a miniature T-Rex with battle damage on the side. And once again, it's got that soft rubbery body and the hard plastic legs and arms. Way in the back here is another Jurassic Park figure with the rubber body and the hard plastic legs and arms. And this T-Rex actually has a stomach compartment too. So you can actually feed this T-Rex smaller dinosaurs. I think it originally came with a specific thing that you could feed it and it would swallow it all the way down to its stomach. But you can still fit other smaller dinosaurs in here too. Right over here is another Jurassic Park figure. This is actually the same model as the one we just saw, but it is custom colored. Check out that super bright orange head and lighter green on top, and it fades down to a darker green on the bottom. And just like the other one, this has a stomach compartment as well. So you can feed this one miniature dinosaurs. It's got a whole lot of teeth too, and they're very brightly colored. This is another Jurassic World figure, and this one actually has a few different features. First of all, you can see that this figure has a button on its foot that activates stomping sound effects. I think the batteries are out in this figure. But it also has the tail control, so that when you move the tail, it moves its head around, chomps, and it roars too. Here we've got an old Jurassic World figure. This might be one of the oldest Jurassic World figures that I have. And it's very different from many of the other Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rexes that I have. You can see that it has a rubberized neck for flexibility, and the main feature on this T-Rex is that you can cock it up into a roaring position, and then when you activate the tail, it swings its head down for chomping. Here is the new Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. This one also came out pretty recently this year. You can see it's got the darker body with the black and the dark brown on the sides and the lighter underbelly. And this figure has a much bigger neck and head than many of the other T-Rexes that I have, which I find pretty interesting. It's a pretty big difference. And this T-Rex also has the action button for roaring, and you can control its head too. You can hear that the sound effects are kind of messed up, so I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if it's just this figure or if it happened in a lot of the figures, but the sound effects are a little bit broken in this one. Next up, we've got an old Jurassic World figure. This is a smaller T-Rex, a bit smaller than most of the other T-Rexes in here, but it's still got the adjustable arms and legs, and its whole body is actually a very hard plastic. This T-Rex has one action button on its back for the chomping and roaring. Here's another T-Rex with the super cool camouflage coloring. It's got the bright green on the sides, and then brown, black, and a little bit of green all over the rest of its body. This T-Rex figure also has the foot stomping action, and I believe there's batteries in this one. So you can hear those stomping sound effects. And just like the other one that had the button on its foot, you can control the tail for roars and for chomps too. Next up is a more recent Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure actually comes with a head cage that you can place on it and lock it in. And this figure is actually designed to break free from that cage using the action button on its back. Let's check it out. Plus, this figure has a foot stomp action when you twist the tail. Here's another old Jurassic Park figure with the rubber body and the hard plastic legs and arms. The coloring on this figure is a bit more unique. It's got a dark red maroon color with the black spots. And this figure has a function that when you squeeze the stomach, it opens and closes its mouth. And it doesn't work too well anymore because it's super old, but you can see that it used to be able to do that. Right over here, we've got another pretty uniquely colored Tyrannosaurus Rex figure from Jurassic World. This one is dark green with black detailing on the top, and it's got the light underbelly as well. And this figure is pretty posable too. You can move the neck around to look in any direction, can move the legs and arms and the tail. And it's got the button on the top of its head to open and close its jaws. Now this T-Rex has a pretty unique action. I don't think I have any other figures that do something quite like this. Check it out. When you press this action button on its back, it actually does a tearing action. Twists its neck to the side and backwards as if it's tearing off a huge piece of meat. There's also a second action button to control the tail too. That is pretty cool. I do like how unique this action is. Right down here, we've got a smaller model T-Rex. You can open and close the jaw on this figure. The rest of its limbs are stuck in place though, but I do love the coloring on this one. It's like an orange-red color with black detailing, and it is pretty detailed all throughout its body. Here we've got another old Jurassic World figure, and this is actually a hybrid Tyrannosaurus. I believe it is a hybrid with a Dilophosaurus. You can tell by those huge frills right in front of its face. And on this figure, you can wiggle the tail around to control the mouth and the neck too. Over here is another Jurassic World figure. This figure is light brown on the bottom sides and has the dark brown on the top, and is pretty adjustable just like many of the other T-Rex figures. And of course, you've got the button at the top of its head for opening its jaw. Next up is another model Tyrannosaurus Rex. I can't remember which brand made this one. And like many of the other model T-Rexes that I have, you can open and close the jaw, but the other limbs are stuck in place. And this T-Rex is in a standing roaring pose, it looks like. Here is another old Jurassic World Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one is also a hybrid, as you can see from these spines on its back. T-Rexes definitely don't have those normally. So you can actually hide those spines by pressing it down into the body and then using the action button to have them pop out. Plus, that same button actually operates the jaw too. Next up, we've got a pretty unique looking Tyrannosaurus model. This has the black stripes on the top with an orange-brown on the sides and a lighter underbelly. And on this figure, you actually can't move anything, not even the jaw. I'd say the most prominent feature of this model is the bright eyes. Back here, we've got another Jurassic World figure, but this one is another custom-colored T-Rex. This looks a lot like the super colossal one that I showed you earlier. It's got the bright red, looks kind of like flames, and the black on the top. And check out those eyes too. These don't have pupils either, which makes it look a lot more evil, I think. This is a light green model T-Rex. This one also does not have any movable parts and is actually like a bit softer of plastic than most of the figures that I have. This is the Jurassic World T-Rex with extreme battle damage. Using the action button on its back, you can actually turn the battle damage on and off just with the click of that button. And the rest of the T-Rex is fully posable as well. You can move the neck, you can keep the mouth open, you can adjust the arms, the legs, and the tail too. This is a smaller T-Rex figure. It's got the light brown and dark brown striping. It's got a little battle damage along its side. And this figure is also in a standing roaring pose. This next model T-Rex is a darker green color with black striping and a lighter underbelly. And on this model, you can open and close the jaw. And it's got a mouth full of teeth right there. Next up, another Jurassic World T-Rex. This one is a dark gray-brown color with a darker brown on the top and is adjustable just like the other Jurassic World T-Rexes with the legs, the arms, the tail, and the neck too. This model T-Rex is in a standing roar pose and is also a dark green color with a little bit of black striping. It's very subtle throughout its body. It's also got the light underbelly and a bright pink mouth. This is an old Jurassic World figure. I've actually got another one that's pretty similar to it, but with different coloring. Both of these T-Rexes have the battle damage on the side and have adjustable arms and legs. And with both, you can use the tail to control the neck and the jaw. Just a few more left. Here is a pretty uniquely colored Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got the yellow and green all over its body. You can see all those individual scales, which I think is really cool. And it's got some intricate detailing right along its eyes. It's almost like a crown or something like that. And you can open and close the jaw on this T-Rex too. And we've got a few more smaller T-Rex figures. This first one is a Jurassic World figure. It's a baby T-Rex. It's got an action with its tail used to open and close its jaw. And this other figure, I'm not sure which brand made this one, but it is in a standing roar pose as well. And you can open and close the jaw. And these are the last two T-Rexes of the bin. The first one is a yellow tan color with a darker green and a little bit of gray on the top. And this other T-Rex is the classic brown-orange color. Both of these have articulated tails, so you can actually move them in a bunch of different directions. And you can adjust the legs on both as well, and even open and close the jaws.
Today we're checking out a bunch of dinosaur figures from Jurassic World and some other brands that have come out recently or that I've purchased recently. So let's go ahead and get started.
Let's get started with this huge Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus. This figure is ginormous. It's probably over 3 feet long, probably stands about 2 or 3 feet high. This looks very similar to the Giganotosaurus that you see in the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. It's got the huge black spine on its back. The rest of its body is green with a lighter underbelly. This figure, like all the super colossal figures, is pretty adjustable. You can move its arms and its wrists around. You can move its legs back and forth and its ankles. You can swing the tail back and forth too. And the best part of all the super colossal figures is a ginormous mouth that has a tunnel all the way down to the stomach so you can feed it miniature dinosaurs. This is a really cool figure. Here is another super colossal dinosaur. This is an Atrociraptor, and this looks pretty similar to one of the Atrociraptors that you can see in the movie as well. It's got the light skin with the brown and darker brown stripes on its body. On this figure, you can move the tail back and forth. You can move the legs, the ankles, and the wrists and arms just like the Giganotosaurus. This Atrociraptor is a bit skinnier than the Giganotosaurus, though. The Giganotosaurus was super bulky in its body, so this one's a bit more slim. Those are some pretty cool teeth, and of course the tunnel down to the stomach compartment as well. Here is another super colossal figure. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Super Colossal T-Rex. This T-Rex figure has a dark brown side with a darker black top and a lighter underbelly. It's fully adjustable just like the other super colossal figures that we saw, although the T-Rex's arms are so small that they can only go up and down. You can't twist the wrists at all. This T-Rex's neck is actually a softer rubber right here, which is interesting. Let's check out those teeth and that mouth too. This can open up super wide. That's probably like 9 inches wide. Check it out, I also bought some brand new figures to open up in this video. We're starting off with the Acrocanthosaurus from PNSO. Let's open it up. All right, so here is the model Acrocanthosaurus. It's like a medium-sized figure. Let's check out the details. It's got this huge spine. It's like raised all the way to its tail. It's got those little spikes right along it. It's got some interesting coloring too. It's got some lighter shades of brown, some darker shades, and then these white splotches all over its body. And
And its face is actually a much darker color. You can see that there's a little bit of red right on the top there, along with its red eyes. It's got some short arms in the front, some pretty big legs in the back. And in this figure, you can open and close the mouth. Next up, we've got the Jurassic World Pteranodon. Let's open it up and check it out. So it comes disassembled. All you have to do is click in those wings. So this Pteranodon is over a foot wide, I'd say, from the tips of the wings. It's got a mostly green body. This is a pretty basic Pteranodon figure. You can see it's got some yellow detailing on its face. It can open and close the mouth, but nothing is colored in its mouth. And it's got some yellow detailing on its wings too. I mean, this is a pretty inexpensive figure, so it's pretty cool. But I will say a big design flaw is in the wings right here. Whenever you move them, they hit the body like that, which is kind of a bummer. But this is still a pretty big figure, and I think it'll look great in my collection. Up next, another brand new figure. You can see its claws are already pierced through as if it's trying to break free. This is a Giganotosaurus model. This figure is standing upright in an attack position, it looks like. Let's check out the details. You can see the ribs right there. That's really interesting. It's got a darker top and then a lighter underbelly. It's got some pretty sharp claws and on its feet too. And this has a huge head, and you can open and close the mouth too. Here's another brand new figure. Let's see what type of dinosaur this is. This is a young Spinosaurus from Papo. Let's check out the details. You can see that it's got a very textured body and skin. You can check out the smaller spine because it's a younger Spinosaurus. This figure is just in a normal standing position. You can see that you can open and close the mouth as well. And it's got some pretty cool coloring and shading on it too. You can see that it's mostly dark green, but it's got some yellow. You can see that it's got some very faint, but it looks like a little bit of light blue, a little bit of red in the spine too. Pretty cool. This will look great next to my huge Spinosaurus figures. And another brand new figure. Let's open it up and see what it is. This figure is also by Papo. This is a Chilesaurus. It's a smaller dinosaur. You can see that it's in this crawling or sneaking position. It's got some interesting coloring on it too. It's got some bright red right along the neck, got some darker green on the back and on the legs and tail. It's got these little spines on different parts of its body, and you can still open and close the mouth on this figure too, although it is really small. That's cool. This is a pretty unique looking dinosaur. Right over here, we've got a Jurassic World basic Pyroraptor, obviously related to the Velociraptor. You can see that its body is covered in feathers. Got some feathers on its elbow there, and you can see the feather detailing on its body and on its tail too. And of course, those huge feather-like things right on the top of its head. But this is the basic figure, so you can't open and close the mouth. All you can do is move the arms and the legs and the tail just a bit. Over here, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Scorpio Venator. This figure is medium sized. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 9 inches long from tail to the face. It's got a bright yellow body, some gray detailing all the way up to the face, along with the white detailing. And you can move the arms and legs and the tail too. The DNA scanner is right in its back that you can slide up, and it has an attack move. When you press down on its body, it chomps. Right up top here, we've got a fierce looking predator with a green body and a brown top. This is the Yangchuanosaurus. Check out these 2 bright red ridges right on the top of its nose. This figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the arms, the legs, the ankles. Plus, with this figure, the tail controls the front torso and the head. So you can move it around just by moving the tail. Here we've got a model Indominus Rex. This is a smaller figure than the rest of the Jurassic World Indominus Rexes that I have, but it's got quite a bit of detail on it. You can see that it's got all these spines on its back, both like these little bumps as well as these long ones. And this figure is in what looks like a roaring pose. Plus, you can open and close the mouth on this figure too. Next up, we've got another model Giganotosaurus. This figure is probably over a foot long from head to tail, and it's got some pretty cool coloring. Very different from the other Giganotosauruses that I have that are mostly green. This one has yellow and red, and it is quite a heavy figure too. This thing is huge. and I love the detail on the teeth here. They're almost reflective, just like real teeth. Next up, we've got a Jurassic World Triceratops with a roaring action. Or maybe that's a stabbing action with its two horns. Either way, that's really cool. It has a mostly green body. It's got the brown detailing on the top and in the front as well. We've also got some Amber Collection dinosaur figures in here from Jurassic World. This is Velociraptor Echo, I believe. And as with all the Amber Collection figures, this is super adjustable and a lot more detailed in coloring than the regular figures. But this is pretty cool. I love how you can pose this in basically any type of pose that you want. Here is another Jurassic World Amber Collection Velociraptor. I believe that this one is Velociraptor Charlie, and it still has the headset right on top of its head. This Velociraptor is a bright green with gray striping and a gray underbelly, and just like the other one, is super posable. Plus, I actually have a Amber Collection Pteranodon. This figure is different than most of the Jurassic World Pteranodons because the wing is actually rubber. So it's very flexible and super posable. Plus, I think it's got a bit more coloring and detail than most of the Pteranodons as well. Check that all out on its head. And from the Hammond Collection, I've got the Baryonyx. This figure is also super adjustable. You can move every joint in its body. This Hammond Collection Baryonyx isn't quite as detailed in coloring as some of the Amber Collection figures, but it still looks pretty cool. Very textured. You can see the ribs on the side. You can see a little bit of blue right on its face. All in all, this is a pretty cool figure. Here we've got a smaller Chialingosaurus. This figure has bright yellow front legs and a yellow chest, while the rest of its body is a soft green color with some lighter blue detailing. And of course, you've got the huge spikes on the tail. And this figure is actually spring-loaded, so you can swing its back torso back and forth. Next up is a huge dinosaur. This is a Pentaceratops. It's got a tan body with some great detailing on the back and on the front. It's got those huge horns used for defending, and this figure has two action buttons. The first swings its head up into the air, and the second swings its torso back and forth. Way down there, I see another huge Jurassic World Dominion T-Rex. This figure is a darker brown color, just like the super colossal figure that we saw earlier. And with this figure, the tail actually controls the head and the jaw too. Let's check it out. I think it's a little broken. It came that way, so I'm not sure what's going on with this figure. But still, this is a really cool colored T-Rex, I think. Next up is a dark blue Nasutoceratops with red detailing and huge horns in the front. And it's even got some green legs and a lighter underbelly as well. It's got an action button for roaring or stabbing, and it's got an action button for swinging its tail too. Right over here, we've got a small Carnotaurus from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. You can see that it's got the broken horn, just like in the movie. It's got orange detailing on the top and a green body elsewhere. It's got some huge back legs, tiny front legs, and you can open and close the mouth and twist the neck around too. Right over here is a Jurassic World Dominion Atrociraptor. It's pretty similar to the super colossal figure that we saw earlier, but this is a pretty basic figure, so you can see that you can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail. Can't move the neck or open and close the jaw, but it's still a pretty cool figure to pose on your shelf. Here is another Atrociraptor, but a lot more posable than the basic figure that we just saw. You can see that you can move its neck back and forth and up and down. You can open and close its jaw, and of course you can move the arms, the legs, and you can twist the tail too. Here's another big figure. This is a Therizinosaurus. This dinosaur has huge claws in the front. They're slightly bendable, but not much. And it probably stands just less than a foot high. And as you can hear, it's got tons of sound effects, but as I've mentioned before, the sensor in this figure is very sensitive. So even if you move it a tiny bit, the sound effects goes off. So it goes off a whole lot. Here is an interesting looking predator. This is the Giganotosaurus. It's got all sorts of interesting details over its body. See that it's got these spines right underneath its neck, as well as at the bottom of its tail. You can see that it's got these bumps all over its back. And the neck and head also look pretty interesting. This is a pretty big head, I think, for the size of this dinosaur and its neck. And it's even got some spines right on the back of its leg right there. That's pretty interesting. Next up, we've got an Ouranosaurus. This has quite a few different colors over it. It's got a huge spine, and it's got an action button right on the side to move its head up and down. Over here, we've got an Allosaurus. This is a pretty cool dinosaur. It's got a brown body and a blue top. It's got those spines running all the way down to its tail. And this figure has a slide action button as well for roaring and chomping. Here is a Kentrosaurus. This dinosaur, kind of like the Chialingosaurus, has these huge spikes on its side, very likely used for defense. And this figure has the slide action button that you can use to swing its torso back and forth. Here we've got the Jurassic World Irritator. This is an interesting looking dinosaur, especially with the coloring. It's got some bright blue, dark blue, and brown with the lighter underbelly. And the tail controls the head on this dinosaur. This dinosaur, I believe, is the Rajasaurus. This is a pretty cool looking dinosaur. It's got the single horn on the top of its head, and it's got some spikes right along its spine there. The rest of its body is pretty bumpy, so you can tell that it's pretty armored. And this dinosaur has a chomping action too. Next, we've got a good old Ankylosaurus with a slide action button used for swinging the tail. We've got a few Dimetrodons in here, actually. This first one has a light blue body with the red spine and an action button for chomping. The other Dimetrodon has a light green body with a red spine, and this one actually has battle damage. Let's check that out. We've actually got a couple more dinosaurs with extreme battle damage on them. I just bought these. This first one is a Velociraptor with a white body and a blue top with extreme battle damage. And this other dinosaur is a Coeluros. This dinosaur has a dark green body with the red legs, tail, and the tip of its head too. And of course, it's got the extreme battle damage that you can turn on and off. Got some more raptors in here. I'm counting 3 in total. This one is actually an Atrociraptor, and you can see that it is in the crouching position. It's sneaking along the ground. These other 2 raptors are Velociraptors, and both of them have the slashing, spring-loaded action. So you can swing their torsos back and forth, and they swing back into place. And the last dinosaur of this bin is the Miragaia. This dinosaur also has those huge spines on its shoulders or around its back, along with the normal spines all the way down to the tail.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a huge collection of Tyrannosaurus Rex versus Indominus Rex. First up, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Super Colossal T-Rex. This figure has a dark brown side and black top with a lighter underbelly, and it's got adjustable arms, legs, and a tail. And up front, I can tell that the plastic is a bit softer on its neck. The rest of its head is a hard plastic, and you can open it up way wide, and you're able to actually swallow smaller dinosaurs down to the stomach compartment. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got another super colossal figure. This is an Indominus Rex. It has the classic light gray body,
and is pretty detailed with all the spikes and the spines. It's got some spines up there, it's got some behind its elbows, it's got those super long claws on its hand. And just like the T-Rex, you can adjust the arms, the legs, and swing the tail around. But on this figure, you can also twist the neck too. Here is the next figure. It's another super colossal Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one has the light orange body with a lighter underbelly. And just like the Jurassic World Dominion Tyrannosaurus Rex, the neck is actually a little bit softer. It's like a softer plastic right there. And you can move the arms, the legs, the tail, just like the other ones. And of course, this one has the stomach compartment for eating smaller dinosaurs. And we've got some brand new figures that we can open up first before we dive into the rest of them. This one is the PNSO Wilson the Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is super detailed. Look at all that texturing on its body, all the various shades of colors. It's like lighter right here, there's darker shades. These are a lot more detailed than a lot of the Jurassic World figurines. But unfortunately, they're not as posable. Usually you can only move their jaw. All right, let's dig in. This first Tyrannosaurus Rex is the Battle Damage Edition. It has the light orange body. You can see that there's scrapes and slashes all over its body, even on its face and nose. And it has a fully posable body, plus the button at the top of the head for chomping. Over here, we've got an Indominus Rex, the Extreme Battle Damage Edition. With this one, you can actually turn the battle damage on and off. That's so cool. Each time that you press that button, it delivers a roar sound effect too. On the rest of the figure, the arms and the legs are fully adjustable, and there's a button at the tail that controls the jaw. Here we've got the epic Roarin' Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is light brown on the sides, dark brown on top, and the lighter underbelly. And the coolest part is the roar and shaking sound effects. Over here is the Jurassic World Chompin' Indominus Rex. This is a bit of an older figure. It's got the hard plastic on the back and the rubber on the neck and head. You don't see that too often nowadays. And for the chomping action, you pull down on the arms to open and close its mouth. I believe this figure is the Bite and Fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has one big special feature. Press this button on its back and it does a tearing action. Swings its head around and closes its mouth real fast. And there is also a secondary button that swings its tail back and forth. I believe this figure is the Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex, but you'll notice that it has some custom coloring. So this definitely does not look like your typical Indominus Rex. And this figure really pops out on my display shelves. My favorite part being those green eyes right there. Next up is the Stomp and Escape Tyrannosaurus Rex. As you can tell by the name, it has two features. The first, when you press this button on its back, it'll escape from its face cage. Just like that. And the second feature is Stompin'. When you twist the tail, it stomps its feet up and down. Comes with sound effects too. Here we have a classically colored Destroy and Devour Indominus Rex. This figure is pretty detailed over its body. It's got tons of spikes on its back. It's got those spines right along its neck. It's got some unique coloring along its eyes, right next to those orange eyes. And this figure has a few different features. First, when you bend the legs forward, it'll actually point its head down. And when you bend them back, it'll point its head upwards. Secondly, there's a button on its back that's used for slashing. And finally, there's a button on its tail for the chomping and roaring. Here is an Extreme Battle Damage Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure is pretty posable. You're able to move the arms, the legs, and swing the tail around, as well as adjust the neck and open and shut the jaw by hand. But the coolest part is the battle damage that you can turn on and off, just like the Indominus Rex that we saw earlier. And you can see it on both sides. Next up, we've got the extreme chomping Tyrannosaurus Rex. This figure has a more gray-brown coloring on the sides with a darker brown on top and the light underbelly, and is adjustable just like many of the other figures. And it has the button at the top of its head for chomping and roaring. Here is another Indominus Rex, but this does not look normal. This is a hybrid Indominus Rex. So this one has some pretty awesome and unique coloring along its body. It's the only Indominus Rex to have red on its body, I believe, as well as the gold on its arms and its belly. And this dinosaur has a few features. First is a hidden button that activates its spikes on its back. Secondly is the chomping action, which you activate by moving its arm. Here we have, I believe, another extreme chomping Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one, though, has the orange body with the brown coloring on the top with the lighter underbelly. And of course, that chomping button right on the top of its head. This is the Stomp and Chomp Tyrannosaurus Rex. It has the typical orange body with the brown top and lighter underbelly. And what I really like about this figure is that you use the tail to control the head and the whole front of the body for chomping and for roaring too. Here we've got a model Indominus Rex, which I don't see that many of. But what I like about these models is that they're so much more intricately colored and textured. Check out those spikes on its back. They're so small on all those little spines and all those little horn things right along its back all the way to its tail. And just like many other model figures, you can't adjust the arms and legs. Only the mouth can open and close in these. But these sure look epic on a display shelf. Next up is the Legacy Collection Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is one of the few Tyrannosauruses that I have that are this cool green color with the black detailing on the top. It has that same button on the top of its head for chomping. And this T-Rex actually came with a baby T-Rex in the same pack. So these came together. Here is a smaller Indominus Rex figure with a battle damage on the side that you can open and close. And while most of its body is that iconic gray color, it does have some gray-green coloring along the top, which is different from most of my other Indominus Rex figures. Plus, this figure comes with a chomping action when you move the tail. Way at the bottom here, I've actually got the T-Rex anatomy kit. Now I am missing a few pieces to it. It's really easy to misplace these, but it's really cool that you can take this apart to check out all the different body parts within. You can take the ribs out, you can see this muscle on its tail and the bone behind it, and you can even take apart this foot right here and see what's underneath. How cool is that? This is the Bashers and Biters Indominus Rex figure. This is from the old Jurassic World toy line, and it has similar coloring to the rest of them, a little bit darker gray on top, got the battle damage on the side, and of course you can move the tail to control the face. This is a Tyrannosaurus Rex figure, but I believe it is a juvenile or even a baby T-Rex. You can see it's got the mouth restraint on, because the humans are actually healing its leg. It's got a broken leg, so it's got this bandage around it. And this figure is very adjustable too. You can move all the limbs, even at the elbows. And of course you can move the tail and twist the head around and even open and close the mouth. This is the Feeding Frenzy Indominus Rex. This is a lot smaller than most of the Indominus Rex figures, but it has quite a large face to it. And it has a few features. The first is when you press this button on its nose, get some sound effects. And the second is when you move the tail, it opens its mouth to eat, and then you can press down on its tongue to clamp shut its jaw. And last of all, I've got a few small figures in here. Got a Lego Indominus Rex figure, which is pretty cool. It's the only Lego figure that I have in this bin, at least. We've also got some miniature Tyrannosaurus Rex figures from Jurassic World. This one is green with a light underbelly, and the second one here is brown with a light underbelly as well. And I also have these two Indominus Rexes in this bin. The first one is white with silver, reflective silver on its top, and you can open and close the jaw. And the second one is a clear Indominus Rex. You can't move any parts on this figure, but I think it's pretty cool that it's see-through.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a huge collection of Jurassic World apex predators, meaning that they are at the top of the food chain. And I've actually got a brand new Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Jurassic World Legacy Collection that we're gonna open up first. Here is the brand new T-Rex and the baby T-Rex. I already have one of these T-Rexes, but I think this is the first of the green T-Rex that I have. So I'm super excited to check this one out. As you can see, most of its body's a dark green color. It's got the lighter underbelly, and it's got the black detailing right along the top. And it's about as adjustable as my other T-Rex figures. So you can move the ankles, you can move the legs into different positions, move the tail around, and then the neck you can also move around so it can look in different directions. And of course, there's the button at the top of its head for the chomping action. This is a really cool looking figure, and I'm sure that the T-Rex is one of the best known apex predators. Here we've got a dinosaur that you can't find in real life, but I'm sure it would be an apex predator if it was real. This is the Indominus Rex, and this is one of the big figures. You can see that it's pretty adjustable. You can move the legs into different positions, and that causes the dinosaur to look up and down. You can see it moves its neck back and forth like that. This figure also comes with the two action buttons, one for the chomping, and then one on the back for the slashing action. This is another T-Rex. This one is mostly brown. It's got the dark brown on the top, lighter brown on the sides, and then a tan on the bottom. And this T-Rex figure has a tearing action, actually. So when you press this button on its back, it tears just like that. And there's also a second action button that swings the tail back and forth. Here is a Carcharodontosaurus with blue coloring on its body and the orange and brown detailing on the top. This also has one action button for chomping. Plus, you can adjust the arms and the legs and the tail as well. Next up, we've got two Endoraptors. And obviously, these dinosaurs aren't from real life, but if they were, I can guarantee you that they would be an apex predator. I just remember them from the Jurassic World movie. These were some of the most feared dinosaurs. This first Endoraptor is a more basic figure. You can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail, but you can't adjust the neck or open and close the mouth. But on this second Endoraptor figure, this one is super adjustable. It's got a bunch of points of articulation. Again, it's a double jointed tail. You can bend the knees, you can bend the ankles, you can adjust the arms fully, and you can open and close the mouth too. Right over here, we've got two Suchomimuses. This one is a blue with yellow detailing, and this one is yellow with brown detailing on the top. This one has two action buttons, one for chomping and one for the tail. This Suchomimus only has one action button that activates the jaw. Right up top here, we've got a smaller figure, but still a fearsome predator. This is a Baryonyx. It's got the green sides and belly and the brown top. The arms and legs can articulate and move around, and there's an action button on its back for chomping. Back here, actually, we've got another Baryonyx. This one has a brown body and sides with the dark gray-blue coloring on the top and the bright orange detailing right on the top of its face. And just like the other figure, the legs and the arms can move too. Here is an older Jurassic World figure. You can see that this is another T-Rex. It's got the full tan body, and on its head it's got some gray detailing. It's got those yellow eyes and an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Here we've got a newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. This is a Yangchuanosaurus. It's
got the green body, a lighter yellow underbelly. It's got some brown detailing along the top, and then that bright orange piece right on its head. This figure is pretty adjustable with its arms and its legs. You can see that moving the legs dips its head down like that. And the tail controls the jaw and can move the neck around too. Back here is another newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. This is a Scorpio-Venator. This figure has an orange belly and sides. It's got some white detailing right along the top and a dark gray-blue color right along the top of its head. This figure is fairly adjustable. You can move the arms and the legs. And when you push down on its legs, it does a chomping action. This one is another T-Rex. This T-Rex though is the Battle Damage Edition. It's got the button on top that you can use to turn on and off the battle damage, which is a pretty awesome feature. This figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the ankles, can move the legs up and down. The tail only has one joint in it though, but the neck of this T-Rex is really adjustable. You can have him look in all directions, and you can open and close its mouth really easily. This is a Carnotaurus figure. It's got the clay red body with the darker detailing spots on the sides and the brown right along the top. You can see that the Carnotaurus has a lot of bumps and ridges and that spine right there as well. And with this figure, the tail controls the head, and there's a button as well to open and close its mouth. Here's another newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series, and I think this is one of my favorite newest dinosaur figures. This is the Rajasaurus. This figure also has a chomping action when you press down on the legs, and you can adjust its arms, its legs, and even twist its tail around a little bit. I love this dinosaur's head. You've got the horn right at the top, and you've got this really cool smaller spine right on its neck, these spikes. It's really cool. Here we have another very well-known apex predator. This is a Velociraptor. This specific one is actually Velociraptor Charlie from the Amber collection. So this figure is very adjustable, can move all the different parts of its arms and legs, and you can adjust its head quite a bit as well too. And it's even got this headpiece right behind its face too. This is another ginormous T-Rex, and this T-Rex is pretty adjustable as well. As you can see, you can move the arms up and down, you can adjust the leg position, and instead of moving the neck and face up here, you actually can control it with the tail by swiveling it. This is another Velociraptor from the Amber collection. This one is Velociraptor Echo. This Velociraptor has the light brown coloring as well as the dark black right on top. And just like the other Amber collection Velociraptor, it is very adjustable on all different parts of its body. You can even move the claws on its feet up and down. Back over here, we've got a smaller Indominus Rex figure. This is an older Jurassic World figure. It's got the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. And this figure is fairly adjustable as well. You can move the legs a little bit, you can move the arms just a bit, and the tail controls the mouth and the neck too. We've got a few more awesome looking Baryonyxes in here. This first one has a slide action for different roaring sound effects. And this Baryonyx doesn't have any buttons on it, but you can use the tail to move the head around. Right over here is a well-known predator from Jurassic World. Once again, it isn't a real dinosaur, but I can guarantee this would be an apex predator. This is the Scorpius Rex. This figure has 2 action buttons on its back, one for the mouth and one for the claws. And the rest of the figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the legs quite a bit, and you can adjust the neck to have it look around. And the tail is spring-loaded too, so you can fling the tail back and forth with those poisonous quills. Back here is a huge water dinosaur that I'm sure you recognize from the first Jurassic World movie. This is the Mosasaurus. This figure is ginormous. It's got a dark blue body on the top and then a white underbelly. And all over its body you can actually see these like white specks, a little bit of detailing. And there's a few things that you can move on this figure. You can move the fins around, you can swivel the tail back and forth, and you can open and close the jaw, which is a pretty big jaw, I'd say. Probably fit a few small dinosaurs in there. Here's another popular apex predator. This is the Spinosaurus. Did you know that the Spinosaurus is the largest known carnivorous dinosaur that existed? These were even bigger than T-Rexes. This figure has an adjustable tail. The legs are pretty movable, as well as the ankles. You can move the arms up and down, and you can actually adjust the neck quite a bit as well too. Here is another awesome T-Rex predator. This looks to be very similar as the first T-Rex that I unboxed in this video, but with different coloring. See, it's got the brown body and the darker brown on top, and just like the other T-Rex, an adjustable tail, you can move the legs and the arms, and you can move the head around too. Here's another dinosaur from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. This is a Quetzalcoatlus. I didn't really know how big these dinosaurs were until I saw them in the new Jurassic World movie. These things were huge, and they took down that plane. This is a Ceratosaurus. I think we actually have another one with different coloring. This one is a dark green color with black detailing on the top, and this one is a light gray with red and a darker gray detailing on the top as well. And they both have that slide action button for different sound effects and different roars. I think the sound effects are the same though. This one's an interesting looking dinosaur. This is a Cryolophosaurus. Look at that interesting crowning on the top of its head. This Cryolophosaurus has a dark blue body with white, red, and bright orange detailing. And you can move the arms, you can move the legs, and you can use the tail to move the head around. Here is another mighty Carnotaurus, the red side and the dark, it's almost like a purple color on the top. This dinosaur has an adjustable tail and adjustable legs and arms, and there's a button on the top for the chomping action. Here's a species I don't think we've seen in this collection yet. This is an Allosaurus. It's got the dark green body with the red and white detailing. See, it's got those spikes right along its spines up top, and you can adjust the arms and the legs and the tail. And it's got the slide action button for different roars and chomps. This bright red dinosaur is a Metriacanthosaurus. It's a pretty interesting looking one, smaller than most of the other figures. It's got the bright orange detailing on the top of its head and the action button on its back for chomping. Next up, we've got, I believe, a Majungasaurus. This is a super colorful dinosaur. It's got the dark green, yellow, and blue on its neck. It's got those teal eyes. And like many of the other dinosaur figures, you can use the tail to move the head and neck around. This is an Albertosaurus with the Battle Damage Edition. As you can see, it's got two different types of battle damage. One that's right there on the top of the plastic, and one that you can actually open up. This has the stomach and ribs that you can close down, and then the skin that you can do to cover all of the battle damage. That's pretty cool. The rest of the figure is pretty adjustable too. You can move the legs, arms, and tail, as well as the neck, and you can open and close the mouth manually. Over here is the Giganotosaurus with a blue body and orange and brown detailing. Look at all those spikes right along its spine too. It's interesting how they're all different heights. With this figure, you can move the arms, legs, and tail, and there's an action button on top for chomping. Here is another Allosaurus with different coloring and different actions too. Check out those spikes right along its spine. You can see the two action buttons right here, one for the mouth and one for the arms. And I think we actually have one more Allosaurus in here with different coloring. This one is gray with yellow detailing. You can only move the arms and legs in this figure, aside from the action button on its back that controls its mouth. Right over here is another Albertosaurus. This figure is about medium sized, and it does not have any battle damage like the one we saw earlier, but it's still pretty adjustable. You can move the arms, the legs, and you can use the tail to control the face. Here is another Carnotaurus. This one is a newer figure from the Jurassic World Dominion series. As you can see, it's got the broken horn in the front, and this figure is smaller, but pretty adjustable. You can move the legs, the arms, twist the tail, and you can move the head and jaw around too. Here are a few small Dilophosaurus figures. This first one is mostly gray with red detailing and an action button on the tail that activates the frills. The second one is a bit more brightly colored. It has a green body and 2 different tones of orange, as well as the action button to activate the frills. And last but not least, we've got a bunch of smaller Velociraptor figures. Oh, actually, this is another baby T-Rex, just like we saw at the beginning of the video. But the rest of these figures are all Velociraptors, so let's check them out one by one. First, we've got the tan and brown Velociraptor. This one has a slashing action, spring-loaded torso, so it swings back and forth. This Velociraptor has a brown and yellow body with battle damage that you can open and close on the side. This next Velociraptor has a red and dark purple body, and you can move the arms, legs, and tail, as well as the mouth, but there's no special features on this figure. And these last 2 figures are similar in movement, but with different coloring. It's got the blue body with a yellow and gold coloring. This one has a dark brown color with orange on the top.
Hello and welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today, we're going to check out a bunch of giant dinosaurs that are in the new Jurassic World Dominion movie. And I've actually got some brand new toys as well to unbox. Let's get started with this big one right here. This is from the Jurassic World Dominion toy series that just came out. Let's open it up. All right, so we've got the Capture and Crush truck. And let's go ahead and click the arm into place. All right, this truck is used for capturing those dinosaurs, like this Velociraptor right here. Let's see it in action. Car's driving around, along comes this raptor, and you can use the claw to swoop down and pick up the raptor, and then put it in the back of the truck. Just like that. Now we have a captured Velociraptor. Or is he captured? This is a really cool toy. And it even comes with a few more things as well. You've got a cannon in there. You've got some chains. And I think this truck actually has an additional feature to it. So check this out. The truck can actually break apart. When the raptor comes along and it headbutts the front of the car, bam! Oh no, look out! The truck's broken! That is so cool. And you can even do that on the side too. You can headbutt it and wham! The car breaks. That is so awesome. This is one powerful Velociraptor. And next up of our brand new Jurassic World Dominion toys is this Owen Escape Pack. And look at all the dinosaurs that it comes with. And of course, Owen on his motorcycle. Let's open it up. All right, so this set comes with 3 dinosaurs. The first one is a giant Carnotaurus. Look at that, you can see its horns, and I think one of the horns is actually broken. It's a wounded Carnotaurus. And the other 2 dinosaurs are the mighty Atrociraptors. Look at the coloring on this one. It is striped. It's like bright orange with the white striping. That is crazy. And our other Atrociraptor, ooh, he's in that sneaking pose. He's stalking his prey, which is Owen right now. So you better watch out for this Atrociraptor, or he'll sneak up on you. And finally, we've got Owen up here, and he comes with a helmet and a tiny little knife. Let's check out Owen.
right, here's Owen. Fits on his motorcycle. It's a bright red motorcycle. And he zooms away while the Atrociraptors chase after him. Run! Next up in our brand new figures, we've got the Ankylosaurus, the Roar Strikers series. Let's open this dinosaur up. Here is the great and mighty Ankylosaurus. Look at all that armor plating on its back. And I love the coloring on this too. It's like a clay red color, and it's got brown on the top, and all those spikes are a nice bright tan color. And this toy comes with an action as well. You can push down on its back and it'll swing his tail. Watch out for that tail. All right, let's see what other dinosaurs we've got from the Jurassic World Dominion movie. Right here, we've got the good old classic Tyrannosaurus Rex. And this dinosaur actually comes with a cage that you can put on its face that it'll break out of. So right now he's trapped, and he's gonna break out in 3, 2, 1, go! That is so cool. This is an awesome dinosaur figure. Up next, we've got a giant Indominus Rex with battle damage. Look at the battle damage on the side right there. That's so cool. It comes with sound effects, and you can turn the battle damage on and off. And besides the battle damage on the side, you've also got the action where you can open and close its mouth with a button on its tail. This figure is ginormous. This one is super cool to display on my shelf. Over here, we've got another dinosaur with battle damage. This is a Tyrannosaurus Battle Damage Edition. Look at all that damage all over its body. Got huge gashes on its chin and on its leg, on its side, and even a little bit on its face right there too. This is super cool. I love the detail to this. All the way in the back here, we've got the great Spinosaurus. These dinosaurs are huge in real life. And I love the coloring on this one as well. Look at all that detail. And even look at the skin too. Look at all those bumps. It looks super realistic. Over here in the corner, we've got another T-Rex, but this one's a bit different than the other ones. It's a bright red, and it's got this action button on the tail. If you press it, there's a chomping action. That is super cool, and I love how bright this T-Rex is. All right, we've got a few more T-Rexes right here. This one is even bigger than this T-Rex over here. Let's check out this one first. This one has the ripping action. Wow, look at that. And it's got the tail action too. That is super cool. And this T-Rex right over here, it's a bit smaller, but still super ferocious. Look at this. We've got another giant Indominus Rex, just like the other one, except this one doesn't have battle damage. This one has a claw slashing action. Look at this. Right up front here, we've got a ginormous Triceratops. And look at that battle damage too. This dinosaur is quite rubbery. The whole outside is rubber, so it feels pretty lifelike. And when you squeeze its chest, its neck moves up and down. That is really cool. Let's keep digging in. Over here, we've got a mighty Carnotaurus with its great horns on the top and the tiny little arms in the front and the action button on its tail to operate its mouth. better watch out. We've got some of the most ferocious dinosaurs right here. These are the Scorpius Rexes. These things are super scary, and I like that they're mostly black, so they can actually sneak around in the dark easier than other dinosaurs. So you'd want to keep your eye out for these at the nighttime. And it's got the claw slashing action as well. Right up front, we've got a gigantic Stegosaurus. Look at this. And it's got some action buttons as well. Look at that, you see? It's moving its head up and down. That is super cool. And on the other side here, if you press this one, it swings its tail back and forth. Oh no, watch out for those spikes. Stay out of the way. Check this out. This is one of my favorite Indominus Rex figures. Look at all the detail. This figure is more of a model because none of the parts move other than its mouth. But I love the coloring on it and how realistic it looks. All right, here are some of my favorite dinosaurs ever. These are giant velociraptors, and I love the coloring too. They're similar, but this one's like a more teal color, and this is a more jungle green color. I love the stripes and the speckled coloring on this dinosaur. And both of these velociraptors are super posable. Look at all the ways that you can move them. And even with the claws on their feet, you can move up and down. That is so cool. Oh, you better watch out. This is an Endoraptor. These dinosaurs are super scary and super smart. You better stay out of the way of these dinosaurs. Look at that gold on the side. And once again, this dinosaur is mostly black as well, so we can sneak around in the night. Look at this. We've got a few Dilophosauruses with their crazy looking frills. Stay out of the way of these dinosaurs or they might spit venom at you. Ooh, right over here, we've got a few more Ankylosauruses. And look at the difference in coloring on these two as well. This one's a lot brighter. It's got that bright blue and like a yellow tan coloring on the bottom. And this one is a green and brown on the bottom. But they've both got those mighty spikes and the mighty armor plating. Let's see the action button on this one. Super cool. And what does this one have? Let's check it out. Let's keep going. There's so many more dinosaurs to see. Wow. Look at these two. I think these both are herbivores. I'm actually not sure what type of dinosaur they are. But look at this one. This one has a huge horn on its back. And this one kind of has like a crown on top. It's like a bright yellow right on the top of its head. And this one's got some action buttons as well. Let's see what it does. First button moves its neck. And the second button moves the tail. And on this dinosaur, you can wiggle the tail back and forth to move its head. How cool is that? Oh, check this out. We've got another model dinosaur. This is the mighty T-Rex. And look at that awesome pose that he's in. It's as if he's roaring right now. Oh, look out. We've got another Indominus Rex in here. This one comes with battle damage as well. And you click it. Bam! There's the battle damage. And the tail controls the head as well. Watch out for those chomps. Ooh, right over here. This is a Mosasaurus. This dinosaur swims in the ocean, and it is a ginormous dinosaur. All right, we've got even more Dilophosauruses in here. Check it out, we've got 3 more. This one is a giant one. And these 2 are smaller, but look at the coloring on these. That is so cool. And look at how different they all are. I love the variety in coloring, even for the same species of dinosaur. Oh, and here are some of my favorite dinosaurs again. The Velociraptors. We've got a green one right here. We've got a brown Velociraptor. And of course, the famous blue. Oh, I think there's even more Velociraptors in here. Here we go. We've got another green Velociraptor. This one looks like he's sneaking around, stalking his prey. And then we've got this awesome bright red Velociraptor with green stripes on the back. And this Velociraptor actually has a jumping action. The legs are spring-loaded, so when you press down, it'll spring up into the air. 3, 2, 1. All right, these are our last dinosaurs of the bin. Look at this. I believe this is a Pteranodon maybe, and it's got the battle damage on the top that you can open and close. We've also got a baby Triceratops, those massive horns in the front. Super cool. And also a cute little Gallimimus. And this coloring is really cool. It's got the blue top and the orange sides.
Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.